Welcome to Pussy Power. I'm your host, Seraphine Saxon. That's right, I said Pussy Power. Tonight we have a panelist of women discussing all issues regarding pussy power. And all images are copyrighted tonight by the Act of 1976. Now, let's begin. Now let's introduce our panelist of women. We have Betsy here, Dani, Maylan, Keli. Let's see exactly where they're from and what they do. Let's start with you, Betsy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm from San Jose, and I work for a high-tech company, and I love what I do.
I'm from China, and I'm studying here in San Francisco. I at Academy of Art, and I love there.
And Maylan?
Well, I'm a dual citizen of both the United States and France, and I'm currently working as a political science tutor for Kenyatta College.
Very nice. And Keli?
I'm the same as Maylan, actually. I was born overseas, and I go to the academy, acting student.
Fabulous. So when you guys were asked to be on the show, what did you think the Pussy Power is all about?
Well, I actually decided that we probably needed to define it. I started that process with the producer, Michael Gila, and I guess we have to continue it here. But yeah, I guess we'll have to come to some definition of pussy power. I mean, if you separate pussy and power, so one would think that power is derived, in this case, from possessing a pussy, which is the, I guess, the name for vagina. But I still think that we need to define it further, because not everybody possessing of a pussy would be considered powerful in the pussy power sense. I mean, let's say you have an 85-year-old grandmother. Well, she wouldn't have pussy power, I think, in the sense that we perceive it. So I think we should define it further.
So what do you think your personal view of pussy power is?
Well, I think pussy power means influence over the male sex, and just the possession of a pussy is actually not sufficient. And I think we all know that, but it is not explicit in the name pussy power, so I think it needs to be defined. For instance, does the female in question, does she have to be under retirement age, perhaps? Because one would imagine that people over retirement age are probably not anymore in possession of the sexual powers that women under retirement age would have.
Very interesting. And I haven't heard from you guys over here.
When I heard this topic, I was like, yeah, this is something I wanna talk, because pussy power is like the power we have. It's like, even though it sounds like very gentle, very soft, but it has its own strengths. It has, it can influence a lot. So yeah.
And Betsy?
I had no idea what I was getting myself into, so I just thought, why not? I'll just show up and learn more about other people. And like you mentioned, define common terminology for it.
And Keli?
I'm a college student. My brain went there. But after talking to the producer a little bit, I actually thought it was something that, yeah, I'd like to talk about. Like, what does it really mean to be feminine but still be powerful?
Exactly. So today, pussy power is basically all of the intuition a woman holds, all her strength, her courage, all the little voices you have that tell you which way to go and what they mean and how they influence you. So does everyone believe in intuition, women's intuition, or just intuition in general?
Oh, I completely believe in intuition, but so are we supposed to assume for the purposes of the show that pussy power is female intuition?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And you guys believe in the intuition, yes?
I do.
Yeah.
Have
Yes.
you experienced it?
Yes, many times.
Give me an example.
Usually when I'm in a situation or when I meet someone, whether it's a guy or a girl, I usually either will definitely find a connection, or I just kind of sense a little bit of a guard. It just really depends. But if I really listen to what I'm feeling and just sensing, it's actually pretty accurate. But when I choose to ignore it, that's when I get in trouble. And then I come to the conclusion where, oh, yes, I did see something and I should have, caught myself in that moment, but I didn't.
Yes. So. And Keli, being a college student, I'm sure you've come across situations.
Oh, yeah. It's not necessarily when you meet people. Sometimes it's just like feeling out, because I looked at a lot of colleges before I decided on the academy. So sometimes it's just that too, like just places that you know that you'd fit in and you just want to be in that environment. Like San Francisco is beautiful. It's wonderful. And I love it there. But I also applied to different schools in New York City, which is also a big city. And I didn't feel as connected to like the places around me in New York when I went to visit the college campuses there than I did here at the academy. So, and it's farther away from people that I didn't want to be around. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, Maylan, I know that you've lived in 7 different countries. So tell me a little bit about your intuition in those countries. Was it different? Was it more sensitive in some countries with the different cultures?
Okay, well, let me see. I guess I'll mentally go down my list of 7 countries and figure out. Okay, so my 7 countries are Bulgaria, Iraq, Vietnam. Pick 2. Japan, France, United States, and Nigeria. For intuition's sake, I suppose I'll pick France and the United States, which are probably best known to our listeners and viewers. And what did you want me to compare again?
The intuition, being in those cultures, if the intuition was sensitive more in one versus the other.
Oh, well, my feeling, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but French intuition happens to be less hampered by all kinds of political pressures than American intuition. I find that when American intuition very correctly bursts forth, it is often severely sanctioned and censored by different American political or legal forces. And that is very unfortunate, but that is how I have perceived things.
Yes. And Betsy, I know that you do web seminars. How's your intuition across the television versus in person doing those seminars? Because you do them global.
Right.
Correct.
So the webinars that I conduct, it's usually we have different annotation tools and different ways to try to gain more interaction with the person on the other side of the computer. So usually we ask polls and just questions. And what I really want is to make sure that the people on the other end are able to feel comfortable, even though, you know, we're not in the same classroom. So it's just trying to get them to talk on the phone, trying to ask questions, and so have that interaction. And usually my morning sessions are the people have a lot of energy, and then in the afternoon, that's when everybody's, you know, kind of quiet, and then I hear crickets. So then it's like, okay, everybody get up from, you know, where you're at and just stretch and, you know, just take a deep breath and come back. So there are just kind of different ways depending on how interactive my audience is like for that session. Yeah, so it helps.
And I know, Keli, being a student, you're also an actor, correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about actors' intuition, playing different parts and getting into character versus you as a person.
Well, I believe personally that every role is you, just like a different avenue your life could take. So it's more just like when you read it, there are different emotions that immediately pop up. And like we play this game in my Meisner class where it's not a game, it's an exercise, but it's like a game where we kind of just repeat something until we feel an emotion for it. And I think intuition is very deeply based in emotion, especially for actors, because you can always tell when someone's playing a part. Sometimes it's just so natural and so almost scary, similar to that you feel like that's who they are. Like Robert Downey Jr. does a perfect job at this when he plays Iron Man. But actors' intuition is more just feeling out the character through the words of the playwright. The playwright has no idea what you're going to do with it, obviously, but every word, where they put a comma or a semicolon, everything has an emotion to it. So it's really important that you read carefully. And as an actor, you have to read a lot anyway.
So to date, tell me one scene or one part that you've played that you really felt you were in tune with yourself or the part itself.
I was Elphaba in Wicked in high school. Great. Anyway, Elphaba, for those who don't know what Wicked is, it's a play about the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz and her story and how she became the Wicked Witch instead of being really good. And everyone's been that outcast person, and it was really just getting in tune with the little girl that was bullied for not knowing English very well, or like just high school in general. That all sucked.
So what I'm going to have you guys do is we're going to show some advertisements on that note, and we're going to take a look, and we want to talk a little bit about the advertisements after they're shown and some of the intuition or what the self-image is of it or what it gives the next generation.
Okay.
Hi, so if you've just tuned in, this is Pussy Power, and I'm Seraphine Saxon, your host, and this is our panelist of women. So tell me, Dani, after watching some of the advertisements, were there any images of intuition in there for women?
For me, when I watched that, first I imagined, first thing is that, well, we're so beautiful, because the body there, that is part of our power. Because we can use it in the right way. It's like show beautiful and show what we wanna say. But some part of that, for me, is not that comfortable. because maybe add a much more sexual in it, and that made me like, this is not stuff we should work, you know.
What would have been some images you would have liked to see come up?
What
that would
part
have
of
empowered or given more intuition, the women's strength. Are there any images that come to mind that kind of give that strength of a woman?
You mean what? Oh, sorry. Could you say it again? Sorry.
So sometimes people have images that give them courage or power, and so I'm wondering what your image of a woman would be that would give that empowerment.
I think the first stuff is like, we can encourage them in the more positive instead of negative, like think much more sexual stuff. Yeah, that is stuff that I suggest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Maylan, tell me, what do you think as far as the next generation of females coming up? What would she's all what would you give them as far as tips or things that would help them build their intuition that you've learned over the years?
Well, actually, I was hoping I could get the last question because I frankly have no tips for the future generation.
Okay, so let's go to the last question then.
Thank you.
What image would you think would give strength and intuition and power? Or
of the images that we saw?
Well, no, and the images that we did, what would you have liked to see up there on those images?
Yes, thank you, because I would have, if it was from the images we saw, I would have said none, because there were no. I would have liked to see an image that would show women powerful the way they really are powerful, because in reality, when women try to use their sexual power and their, let's say, youthful sexuality, this is not something that is appreciated in the workplace, and maybe rightfully so, because women, like our panelists said, indeed should shine not for their sexuality, but for their competence, hopefully. So I think the image I would like to see is Hillary Clinton, somebody like her, or Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, or one of my idols, Margaret Thatcher, who unfortunately has passed away, but this is the kind of image I think really denotes female power and intuition, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And Betsy, what image would you have liked to seen up there?
Just very similar to what you were talking about, just women who, I can't think of someone specifically, but just someone that made a difference. I mean, even like Mother Teresa, whether, you know, she's not alive anymore, but it's still that influence that remains, even though the person is not there. Just heroes, women that have come a long way, which, you know, we might not know their background or that silent story, but just what the actions and, you know, being role models on what they did and being able to influence others.
Great. So Keli, tell me a little bit about, do you read self-help books at all?
I read acting books. I guess those are self-help books. It's helping me.
Fabulous. Oh, my next question was going to be if you've read any intuition books, self-help intuition books, working on maybe your psychic or balancing of the chakras or energy work, anything of that nature.
Well, my mom's a psychologist, so I feel like having balance, that's not necessarily like meditating to know who you are internally or like in your mind or whatever. I feel like balance comes from knowing what you want more than, or what you want to be, and working towards that, and that helps you be more balanced.
Goal setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having a specific train of thought that you need to be on.
Fabulous. Dani, tell me a little bit. I know you speak 2 different languages.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the difference in the delivery of some of those languages and some of your intuition, because I'm sure they're a little bit different.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, because when you're thinking in English and when you're thinking in this way, it's so hard to translate in another way. And so more time we need more like body language. Maybe I need eye contact. And yeah, I think that is also part of women power. It's like we can say something without words, and that sometimes it's more helpful than languages itself.
So gestures you're talking about, body language, those things.
Yeah.
Perfect. So can you usually pick those out? Do you sit back and watch a crowd and kind of watch some of those nonverbal communications coming across?
Like for examples?
Sitting in a mall.
Sitting in the mall?
Walk by and watching.
It's funny. Like some guy, you can say they really want to find something, find some clothes or find something they really like. So they just focus on the stores, the folks. But some people, you can see they just like looking around and just find something, maybe find someone maybe they can talking to. And also some guy, they try to sell their own products, especially for makeup stuff. So they just focusing you, and you know, oh, they're gonna talk to me. So now I want to buy something from you. So I just walking away. I know you will talk to me.
Yes. Yeah. Betsy, tell me a little bit about nonverbal communication and maybe dating back to infants and just being aware of their nonverbal communication. Do you think that has anything in helping build your nonverbal communication skills?
Yes and no. I'm kind of thinking of even just learning how to say no as little babies. You know, that's like the first thing that we learn. But I think just over time, you learn more about the outside world, and then that perspective changes where, oh, this might not sound as nice, so maybe I shouldn't say it. And then either we almost become afraid of actually saying, you know, the way that it is. But so kids are very honest. They will just say it like it is, very direct. And then as you grow up, you know, then you have filters. So it's like, okay, how do I notice that, and how do I get myself from that situation so that it doesn't impact, you know, life choices, which they will.
Maylan, tell me.
Seraphine, before you start, I have to tell you, I want Dani's question again because I speak 5 languages. So
Oh,
that would help.
fabulous. Okay, please tell. Yes.
But you have to repeat the question.
The question was, you speak 5 languages. Tell me between those languages, the intuition that you get with delivering it and understanding it, because every language is quite different. Tell me a little bit about that, speaking that language and getting across what you're wanting versus a different language, and how.
Yes, it's interesting that you say that, because languages actually are a reflection of that country's culture and are very different vehicles for expressing what we intuitively feel. And some languages are more precise, some languages are more flowery, and I think, well, as far as expressing intuition, my penchant again would be for French, but obviously English probably has the widest worldwide audience, and maybe actually the least defined personality. The other languages I speak are all Slavic, and Russian is one of them, and that is also a very, very expressive language. So actually, if I was asked which language expresses intuitive feelings, emotions, or intuition, I would be hard-pressed to say, but I think all languages have to achieve some kind of equilibrium between precision and intuition.
Yes. Keli, please tell me a little bit about intuition in dating. Do you think that men have the same amount of intuition that females do?
Oh, no. No, not when it comes to, especially not when it comes to dating. Well, I think they have an amount of intuition, yes. Like, I've seen some guys head for a date and then turn around because they knew from, like, moment one it just wouldn't happen. So, but women are just so sensitive to, like, the needs of other people, dating back to Mesopotamia, and just because we are the child bearers and, like, we kind of know what needs to happen in a relationship for it to flourish so that children can have both parents or even one strong, solid parent. So I think women are very sensitive to the environment they're dating in and the person they're dating especially. Because women have this checklist of things that happens on a date. They really do. And it's like, oh, well, his hair's not combed, and I really don't like those shoes at all. And really, an Italian restaurant, again, think of something more original. You know, there's a whole slew of things that we look at and we pick up and we notice, especially when dating, and especially young women, because we're just like, well, some young women, I shouldn't say all young women, but young women generally just have this thought of this perfect man, and every man needs to meet this perfect man in their head, and it's crazy, but it works.
Great. I want to thank you guys all for being on today. You guys have really good suggestions and really good ideas, and you answer the questions fabulously. Any last-minute one-liners that you'd like to say to the next generation? Anyone?
Keep your clothes on.
Coming from the college student.
Please, keep your clothes on.
Keep learning before you want to show something.
Yeah.
There you go. What about you, Betsy?
I would just say don't focus on advertisement because they're fake. At the end of the day, they're not real and very short term.
And Maylan, I know you have something really quick.
Pussy power should be intellectual power, not sexual power.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Thank
Well
you guys
said.
all again.
Thank
It was
you.
fabulous to have you on the show. Pussy Power, everyone. I'm your host, Seraphine Saxon. Thank you for tuning in. We had a wonderful time. Tune in next time. Ladies, so thank you guys again for being on here and telling us your stories. I really appreciate it. I know it's